Hi. Hi, everybody. How's it going? I wanted to give you guys a few minutes to kind of hop in. I was getting this recipe ready to put on the blog for tomorrow for my email list, and I wanted to give you guys a quick behind the scenes of how I did my shot. I'm so glad you guys are joining. Hey, husband's a cook. Hey, guys. Is it both of you or just one? Hey, Heartbeat Kitchen. Hi. I love seeing when both good. I love seeing people that I know. It makes me excited. Honestly, I'm just happy when anybody shows up. Seriously, I'm just happy when anybody comes. Thanks for all the hearts. Thanks. How's it going? Good? Thank you so much for sharing. So, hi everybody, happy Monday. We are in Nebraska getting ready for snow blizzard. First time on Periscope. I'm so glad you're here, Heartbeat Kitchen. Yeah, so we're buckling down for a huge snowstorm, which is probably not national news since the East Coast got slammed a couple weeks ago. So we're in the Midwest. We're getting ready to get hit with several inches of snow. They've already canceled school for tomorrow, so should be good. Anyways, my name is Trisha. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm a food blogger and food photographer, and I'm in New Jersey. That's where my best girlfriend is. She's in New Jersey too. Yep, my very best girlfriend lives there. So my passion is teaching food photographers and food bloggers how to get the knowledge they need to capture amazing shots. So I'm going to share a little bit about a shoot that I did today behind the scenes. And if you know anybody who would love to hear more about this, then feel free to invite your friends. I always say invite your friends, invite your mom, whoever you think might want to watch what I have going on. And I did an aerial shot of the soup this weekend, and it was really cool, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that again, do the aerial shot. Hey! Oh, Jill sent you, Mom with a Lesson Plan. I love Jill. She's the best. We need to get her over on Periscope. She's the sweetest. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop you into my tripod, and then hopefully, thanks, loved the soup shots, thanks. Yes, we share a friend. Hopefully you guys won't have any issues. I'm just gonna camera so it puts you the right way. I'm gonna clip you into my tripod. Give me some hearts if you guys are still there. I just turned my phone off. I'm sorry, that was an accident. Technology. Thanks guys, thanks for the hearts. So I've got you guys on my tripod arm, and I gave a little behind the scenes shot of what my tripod arm looks like. Do you guys need to see that again? Who wants to see the tripod arm? Give me some hearts if you guys want to see what that looks like, and I'll show it to you really quickly. Yeah, a couple? All right, okay. I'm gonna put my watch down here. Yes, please. Okay, I'll show you guys my tripod arm. It's basically, sorry for the shaky hands. It's an extension of my tripod. So you can see my tripod here has this little head, and when you take it off, this is where the tripod, you know, the ball head would normally sit right here. So you can remove it off, and then this is a tripod arm. This is from Manfrotto, and that's what my tripod is from too. So it can give you these nice aerial shots. It clips on. Guys, I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties. My friend just called me. Oh, Periscope. Okay, sorry about that. So anyways, I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of behind the scenes today of a shot that I did. And kind of the thing that I was really experiencing today was things weren't going my way. Does that ever happen to you guys when you're trying to take pictures? Give me some hearts if you know what I mean. When you're shooting and you just are like, what is happening? Things are not going my way. Yeah, that is totally how I felt today. And so I just wanted to show you guys that it's, you know, it happens to everybody. It happens to the best of us, right? Even people who shoot all the time. Yep, you're definitely gonna have days where you're frustrated and things just are not going your way. So the first thing that I wanna show you guys is I'm shooting this blood orange and olive oil cake. Oh, it keeps rotating. Sorry, it should be steady now. Let me know if it's not, because I have it hooked into my tripod arm. Rainy Day Bites, let me know if it keeps flipping, okay? Somebody let me know. Is it steady? Is it staying put now? I may need to move something. Looks like it stopped. Perfect. Thumbs up. Okay, so I'm shooting this blood orange cake, and the first thing that's kind of happening with this cake is that you can see it's really dark. It's got lots of coconut sugar on it, and the sugar kind of caramelizes in the pan. You cook it upside down, kind of like a upside down cake. So the first thing that happened is when I pulled this guy out, it was really dark, and that's something that you kind of need to take into consideration when you're getting ready to style your shot. What's the color of your food? So things that are dark, you know, that sometimes you may have issues with because they're gonna suck up a lot of your light, are things like chocolate, baked goods, meat. Sometimes I have issues with meat, like meatballs specifically. They start to look really dry and kind of too dark and not very appetizing. So because I didn't want to dust this with sugar, I could have done like a powdered sugar on top to kind of give it some color, but I didn't really want to do that. And I really loved the blood oranges here. So I just want to tell you guys, the first thing that I do is when I'm shooting something, and if it's looking too dark, I'm going to brush it with some coconut oil. And if you've ever worked with coconut oil, you know that it can get hard really quickly. So I've got like a cup of hot water here, and then I've got my little dish of coconut oil, and it's sitting inside of that to keep it nice and warm for me. So as I'm going through, and if I feel like this is starting to look a little dark or maybe even a little dry, if I just brush it like with some coconut oil, it's gonna bring some of this like juicy texture and just, you know, how the cake looked when it came out of the oven, nice and juicy. But as the cake sits and gets cold, then, you know, it starts to dry out, right? So just brushing it, letting some of this cake absorb some of the olive oil is really, really helpful. Great idea. Thanks, Rainy Day Bites. You know, a lot of times, like professional food photographers will use things that aren't edible to make things look moist, or I don't know, make them look liquidy. But you know, we eat everything that I make here, so I don't like to use anything that my family wouldn't actually eat. So you can use olive oil. You can use coconut oil. I like coconut oil. I like the refined because it doesn't actually have a taste to it, so you don't notice if it's got extra oil. So you can see now how that's starting to look really nice and shiny. Before it was looking kind of dry, but now it's really shiny and has a lot of beautiful color to it. So that is, it seems like cheating. It seems like cheating to make something look beautiful. Well, you know, I guess I would say, oh wait, you mean like, okay, so I don't know if you mean like doing this or if you mean like what other food photographers do. So I guess like my thing would be, to me, I don't feel like it's cheating to brush it with coconut oil, because when I pull it out of the oven, it does actually look really moist, and you know, the sugar is nice and caramelized. Yep, 365, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, smiley face. So to me, I want it to look the same as it looked when it came out of the oven. So that's why I'm, you know, happy to just kind of moisten it up and make it look real shiny and pretty. Okay, so the other thing that happened when I started shooting this is that I didn't have a cake plate, and I wanted to put it on something. So I put it on this piece of wood, and I was going about my shoot, and gosh, things were not looking the way I wanted them to look. I was very unhappy just with everything happening, and it's because I had a dark subject, a dark piece of food on a dark piece of wood. And you know, sometimes you may have something in your mind that's a vision and you think that's what you want to go for, and then you put it together and it doesn't look right. So my best advice is don't get frustrated, try something new, right? Everybody seemed to like that. There were lots of hearts. So what I did is I did something that you wouldn't normally do. I said, forget the cake plate, it's not working, this looks like a mess. And I just put it on my marble board. And when I did that, because it was on a white background, it's a little dim where I'm shooting, but because it was on a white background, the difference of the contrast in the dark cake and the white background, the marble background, really gave this a beautiful pop of color. And when I post this recipe tomorrow, you'll be able to see the finished shots. But yeah, it really was able to bring a lot of light into this picture. And instead of sucking, you know, the beauty out of this cake by using that piece of wood, it really made this cake stand out next to the marble. So the next thing I thought about was linens. And you know, I've got some options, but I wanted to do something that again was going to bring more light to my image. So I didn't want to use the brown. You see so much more of the scallop edge. Yeah, exactly, right? So we've got some really nice sort of texture and design here, which, you know, again, was kind of getting lost by using that piece of wood. And I think sometimes it's just you get caught up in like, okay, well, you have a cake, you put it on a cake plate, right? I mean, but sometimes, you know, what if you do something unexpected? Maybe something even better comes out of it, right? So I have another option of, you know, a darker napkin, but again, neither one of those was really making me feel the way I like to feel when I do something right. So I went ahead and I decided to go with this white and beige linen, which works nicely with the marbling that I have. Really, really pretty. And so it also is gonna bring more light into my image. And again, if you've watched my scopes before, you know that I love linen fabric in general. This is from Sur La Table. I love linen because it's great, it's very forgiving, and it's very easy to manipulate, and it gives you great movement and great shadows, right? So like these are the things that get me excited, right? So like these folds and the shadows in the fold. Give me some hearts if you guys love linen. I just love it. It's my favorite. Yay! So what I wanted to do, yep, it's my favorite too. What I wanted to do is really bring this to the side of my frame so that, you know, I was using a great composition and I was able to add some interest, but still I've got my subject on the left-hand side. You know, typically you want, a lot of people read, you know, we say we read left to right, so the right side of the frame is where you could place things for composition, but I'm not afraid to put something on the left-hand side. That doesn't bother me at all. And then eventually it gave me an opportunity to, I know I've already cut this cake, but it gave me an opportunity to place a piece of cake here. And then I was able to sort of have a focal point to be on this side, and it really balanced out the whole image nicely. So, and you can see my plate here is a little wonky, so you can just play with the linen because again, it is so forgiving. Add some stuff under here. Don't be afraid to get some cotton balls under there if you feel like you need to add something to kind of bulk it up a little. I did have this beautiful cake server, but for some reason this is just too big for a lot of my shots. I'm working on a marble pastry board, which is a very small surface, and so every time I use this, gosh, I love it, but when I put it in there, man, what do you see? You see this gigantic thing. It really like takes away, and I like my props to add to the beauty of my subject, so that's why I was like, I can't do the cake server, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use this. And again, like I said, don't be afraid to play with your linens and don't be afraid to move things around, right? So that's just super fast behind the scenes. Does anybody have any questions? I'll put my hands here so you know that I'm favorite go-to spot for prop utensil finds. Paleo wins. I love Sur La Table. I have a lot of Sur La Table. I don't know if that is simply because I live close to a Sur La Table, but I am definitely a fan. They also have a lot of white. So like this white plate is like an appetizer plate from Sur La Table. This fork is from Sur La Table. The linen, the other thing. I love the crumb. I assume that's intentional. Yeah, actually, I had a lot more crumbs earlier when I cut this piece. And so just to let you know, I actually cut this with a super sharp knife because if you try to actually cut something with a cake server, it's going to like make it look all mushy. And so instead, oh, sorry, I'm gonna reach for my knife. Instead, I just used this super sharp zwilling knife that I have. It's a rocking santoku knife. And I just cut it with this instead. What is this exactly? What is the cake? It's a gluten-free, dairy-free, olive oil and blood orange upside down cake. That was a long explanation. But yeah, basically when I wanted to cut this cake, I wanted to use a knife that was gonna be super sharp to cut through this rind and be able to leave a beautiful cut in my cake. And so that's why I used a super sharp knife instead of actually using a cake server, which doesn't leave a beautiful line. So anyways, that's what I used when I cut this piece. And yes, when I cut it, I did have some crumbs. I'm a fan of crumbs and mess in general. You know, that's just kind of my life. And so I think it adds to the image. Any more questions? Anybody? Should I take a bite of my cake? My kids will be coming home soon. Does anybody else have any questions? You know, I love answering your questions whenever you have them. Anything? If you're on my email list tomorrow, you will be getting this, you'll be getting this recipe as well as the recipe that I shot this weekend. What is your favorite thing to shoot? Oh gosh. You know, I don't think I have a favorite thing to shoot. I don't think I have a favorite. I have things that intimidate me. Like, for example, shooting a cake like this, it's very flat and it doesn't have, you know, I can't add a lot to it. This is sort of an intimidating thing to me because, you know, I don't know, I feel like I'm just gonna be able to do just a handful of shots with this, and maybe those are just personal limitations, but that's kind of how I feel. Mama's got mojo. Are you using all natural light? Yes, correct. Ice cream is hard to shoot. Healthy with chocolate. I agree, ice cream is hard, but listen, here's my tip for ice cream. Scoop the ice cream into the little scoopy that you want and put it on some wax paper and put it in the freezer and let it get as cold as possible in that sort of scoop that you've just made, you know, and then shoot ice cream in the winter, right? Yeah, post it this summer. Yeah, so what I do is I just scoop it into a ball, I throw it in the freezer on some wax paper, and I wait. If you put it on a metal baking tray, that'll help keep it cold too. So put it in the freezer and then take it out and throw it on, and you have like literally seconds to shoot it. So make sure everything is totally set up and you're not waiting, right? Keep it frozen until the very last second. Yeah. Anything else? Like I said, this recipe will go out tomorrow. Where do you often find your best light? Noticed you were in the basement last time. You know, S. Fulbert. So typically I shoot anywhere. Upstairs in my kitchen is where I shoot. I actually have been coming down to the basement just for the last 2 shoots. And I can tell you the amount of times I've come downstairs, I'm on the floor. I don't usually shoot on the floor. I usually shoot on an end table. I've come to my basement twice in the past 3 years that we've lived in this house. So I rarely come down here. I just like that I have a lot of space and it's kind of quiet down here. What does it taste like? Well, you'll have to make the recipe and find out. It's delicious. My kids love it. It's got cinnamon in it and cardamom and vanilla and blood orange juice and some lemon zest. It's really good. Anything else, you guys? I always love to sit here and answer your questions, so I'm happy to answer them for you. And I know this was a short styling session, but you know, I just wanted to give you guys a quick behind the scenes of how I'm gonna style something. And also too, I don't know if you guys noticed, but am I using all natural light? Yes, yep, sure am. And I pronounced your last name right, good. So you guys can see this coconut oil. Do you see how it's getting white because it's getting cold? That's something else that you need to kind of consider when working with coconut oil, because the basement is pretty cold and it's sitting on a marble pastry board. So it's really cooling this cake down quickly. So anyways, shoot fast, I would say, if you're using coconut oil. Anything else? I'm glad you guys all came. I'm happy to see you here. Remember, for more information, if you're really interested in food photography, I have an entire resource on my website, eatyourbeets.com/eatprettythings. That's my food photography ebook, and I'm coming out with another one really, really soon. But I love doing these behind the scenes scopes for you guys, whoever's interested, and just love hanging out with you guys. Thanks so much, husbands that cook. Thank you. Okay, that's it. I will see you guys later.